fishing hole. Grab your hat, get your pole. Let's go fishing when you're in the mood.
Canadian Sport Fishing, brought to you in part by Rapala, premium fishing gear crafted from experience. Ducket Fishing, pro-driven. Raymarine Electronics, Raymarine, simply superior. Pro Sports Boats, tame the waters.
Good afternoon, fishermen, fish eaters. I've got a different kind of a recipe for you today. You know, I really appreciate the fish that I catch, all different species, saltwater and freshwater, and I really enjoy eating my fish. And if you watch the Here's the Catch saltwater TV series with some freshwater fishing, you'll know that we try to do a recipe and show you how to clean the fish and prepare the fish in every show. In Canadian Sport Fishing series, we often do shore lunch, and we from time to time showed you how to clean fish, pike, and so on, how to do walleye bobs and do different fish recipes, even how to deep fry suckers so that you vaporize those small Y bones. Well, I've got a real treat for you if you don't like wasting any fish like me. Today we're going to be showing you how you do the Y bone strips from pike and how you fry up perch eggs. Okay, let's get started. This is what I have set up ready to prepare my fish. The first thing that I want to tell you is that I have 2 Teflon frying pans. This is a larger frying pan. This is a smaller frying pan. The smaller one's going to be used for the perch eggs. I'm going to do the little patties. And then the larger one is going to be used for the pike strips that have the Y bone strips. Now, here are the pike strips that have the Y bones in them. And you can see right here, this is the actual Y bone. If you haven't seen one before, try to hold it up over a dark background. Okay, so this is the culprit, the Y bone, that's in all of the actual strips. To cook this little skein of eggs, the center eggs wouldn't cook very well. So even though I wasn't targeting big female perch, most of the fish I kept were 9 to 11 inches. Some of them were females and they had undeveloped eggs. So what I've done, I've taken the skein and I've opened it up like this. So you can see there's the skein so that the heat can evenly cook all of the eggs and the membrane is still there. That's the membrane side. So I'm just going to put that down. Now, as far as what I'm using as for cooking, I'm not going with any fancy dressing. I'm using black pepper and I'm using this herb bemer. I believe it's pronounced herb bemer. It's like very light salt, but it's mostly made from vegetables. And it actually has a really nice flavor. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to coat the pieces of, these are the strips from the pike that have the Y bone in it. I'm going to coat it with the herb bemer. So the first thing I'm going to do, because the salt should go on first so that it goes into the fish, I'm going to turn each piece over. I'm going to do both sides. And then I'm going to repeat this with the pepper. Okay, so I'm just going to go like this. And not too much, but enough to give it flavor. Now I'm going to be using the pepper. You can see the pepper going down on there. Why I'm using this very simple recipe is because I really want to enjoy the nice flavor of the fish from the pike and also from the perch eggs. And once these pieces of Y bone strips are cooked, you're going to see how easy the bones come out. So I don't like wasting so much good meat. Okay, so not too much. There we go. Now the oil should be warming up and we're going to be ready to put them in. The oil has been warming up and now we're going to put in the pieces. It doesn't really matter which side you put the pieces on. I'm laying them on the flat part first. You can hear the sizzling because that oil is nice and warm. I'm putting some of the thinner pieces on the outside edge. I'm putting the thicker pieces kind of in the middle. Now the reason I use avocado oil doesn't get super hot, so it won't burn. It won't get a really high flash point. So you can see I'm actually using my hands just to move them around to make sure that they're all going to get even heat. So I'm going to cook those. I'm going to put a lid on top and we're going to wait until they're nice and brown on one side, almost like seared, and then I'm going to flip them over. Fish is cooked for about 5 minutes with the lid on. I'm just going to use a fork without touching the bottom. You can see that the pieces of fish are turning white. That means they're cooking. All I'm going to do is carefully turn them over. each piece so they cook evenly. And this time I'm going to let it cook a little bit more so that it gets a little bit more golden brown. You can see that that oil has a really nice consistency. It's not getting too hot. By the way, I'm using one of the smaller elements on this propane stove. It seems to work really good. Okay, so we're going to give it about another 5 to 7 minutes on that side. Time to check the fish for the last time, hopefully. You can see that the fish are really nice. They're like a gold color. So you can see they're cooked really well. And that oil is still sizzling. Just going to turn that element off. I'm moving them onto this plate that has paper toweling on there because I want any of the excess oil to come off. You know, I'll cook fish in an air fryer. I'll deep fry fish. I'll pan fry fish like I'm doing right now. I enjoy having fish all these different ways. So today I'm just doing them in avocado oil. By the way, the avocado oil also gives the fish a really nice, like a nutty flavor. I'm going to see if I can get the last piece out here without making a mess. You can see it's well done. And look, you can see one of the Y bones that are there sticking out at the top. You'll see how easy it is to get the Y bones out and why it's such a shame to waste all of that meat because there's so very little bones in there. Okay, let's get the Y bones out as soon as it cools off. That's the Y bone right there. I'm just going to pull it out. Okay, there's the Y bone. I'm going to make my little Y bone collection over there. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to split. I'm going to break the piece of fish that has the Y bone to expose the Y bone. So look, I'm going to go like this. And can you see the Y bone that's right there? One up Y bone, two Y bones. Okay, so that piece of fish right there doesn't have any Y bones in it. Put that on the other plate. I'm going to do the same with the next fish. Can you see the Y bones just sticking out right there? There and there. 1, 2. Taking them out. Got one little one on the bottom, right there. Took it out. So I'm going to repeat this for all the pieces of fish. And just to make sure, I'm going to break them up so that we get any of the Y bones that is on there off of there. So what I'm doing is just breaking it. There's the Y bone. I mean, this is a little messy, but if you want to eat the fish yourself and you don't want to miss any of the delicious meat, there's one Y bone right there. Take that off. You don't need any special tools. That's a clean meat. Okay, I'm going to do the rest of the fish. After about 3 or 4 minutes of work, there's the clean pike pieces. That's boneless. And to me, it would be such a shame to waste that. That's almost enough for 2 people to eat. And here are the Y bones that were taken off. So you can see them all there. So those won't crystallize when you cook the thicker pieces of fish. So those will be discarded. Okay, let's go on to the perch eggs. Here are my perch eggs. I'm going to use the same Herbamare, the original, on there. Make sure that that's open. I'm just going to do a light sprinkle. I'm going to do the salt first, and then this is just black pepper. And I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of black pepper. Black pepper is a little bit easier to see. So again, I'm not using any heavy coating because the fish eggs have such a nice flavor. I want to be able to taste them. A lot of people think that they taste fishy. They do not. And it's not like salmon eggs that are oily. If you've ever had sashimi, I'm not really a fan of using salmon eggs or trout eggs, eating them raw, because I steelhead fish and I use roe bags. And even though sometimes I keep the roe bags in my mouth when the weather's cold out and my roe bags freeze, I really don't want to think of eating them. So there we go. Just going to dry my hands off, and a little bit of salt on the other side. It's not really salt, it's a vegetable seasoning. And the pepper. And the oil should be hot, and it's ready to go in the frying pan. You can hear that oil calling the fish eggs. So here we go. Now they're going to curl a little bit, but that's okay. So I'm just putting the little egg sacs that have been opened up in the smaller frying pan. I've used a smaller frying pan because the fish are going to shrink a little bit. If they start to curl, I'm just going to use my fork and push them together. The eggs, because they're attached to the skein, shouldn't really come off. You see some of the skeins are a little bit bigger than the other ones. There. And the outside edges are already starting to cook. If you let them cook, they'll actually kind of seal, so you don't have to worry about the eggs sticking to the bottom of the pan. I'm using a fork, but not scraping the bottom of the frying pan. I just want to make sure they're loose, so I can move them around. You could use a plastic spatula, but I'm being very careful with it. There. I don't use a really high heat. I try to go about 350 when I'm doing the fish like this. Should be able to get them all in there. There. I'm going to put the other ones in there. Boom. Boom. They're going to be nice and cozy. And one more. Now I'm just going to let them cook till they get seared and golden brown on that side, and then I'm going to flip them over. The eggs have been cooking for about 5 minutes. I'm just going to turn them over. They should be nice and golden brown on one side. The reason I cut them open is because I want to make sure they all cook well. You can see that they maintain their shape and they're like a little patty. Just going to turn each one carefully without scratching the bottom of the pan. And you can see that that oil has really kept its consistency. It's not getting dark. That's why I love to use avocado oil. And I'm just doing simple recipes like this with just the vegetable salt and a little bit of pepper on them. To me, it would be such a shame to throw these out when they taste good and they're plentiful, especially when you're not targeting the females, but they have eggs. Might as well use them up. Okay, so we're going to let those cook a little bit longer. You can see that they've got a nice color. I'm going to put the lid on there just so that the heat is maintained in there. Probably be about 350. And we're going to give it another maybe 4 minutes. The eggs sound like they're done. There they are. I've turned the heat down a little bit. And it's time to take them out and put them on the paper towel. Look at how nice they look. Can you see that? Almost like nuggets. Organic, delicious eating. I'm going to let them sit on the paper towels for a little bit. Then I'm going to move them to just straight plates. And I'm going to enjoy them. This whole process maybe took me 20 minutes. Didn't make really a mess because the fish pieces were pretty well all cleaned. I just had to take the Y bones out. Okay, so I've almost got all of them here. I didn't dirty a lot of things. 2 frying pans. I could have used the same frying pan, but I chose to use 2. Okay, so I've got them all there. Look, don't those look nice? Those are fried perch eggs. They were in a sack, but I split them open. Okay, let's go and enjoy them. That was about 20 minutes cooking, and I've got some delicious fish, boneless. When I look at all this pike that would normally be discarded, I just can't believe how good it is, and that there's enough here for a couple of people to enjoy. That's the actual strips from the pike that had the Y bones, boneless now. Nice light seasoning so I can taste the nice flavor of the pike, which is a nice white meat. And then over here I have the perch eggs. So to be honest with you, every spring and winter, because that's when I really target perch, in the fall as well, I look forward to the eggs as much as I do to the fillets. So that's the actual eggs that I've cooked. You can see they're like almost like a thick potato chip. They're amazing. I don't know why people discard them. I know some people know about them and they eat them. And I get all kinds of questions when I post videos of some of my fish, like the perch, whether they're whole or fillets, and then there's egg sacs beside them. Questions are those eggs? Do you eat the eggs? Of course I do. They're delicious. You know what? I'm going to feast on this fish, and if the weather's okay, I'm going to go back out there and catch some more.
Let's go fishing. People, when you're in the mood, let's go fishing. Well, it's just me and you. Head on down to the fishing hole. Grab your hat, get your pole. Let's go fishing. When you're in the mood.
Canadian Sport Fishing, brought to you in part by Rapala, premium fishing gear crafted from experience. Ducket Fishing, pro-driven. Raymarine Electronics, Raymarine, simply superior. Pro Sports Boats, tame the water.